haven't talked about the 3DO in a while, and you know I can't help myself, so let's take a look at Strahl for the 3DO. Strahl is an interesting game. Imagine a world where Dragon's Lair had been made by an 80s anime director, and you pretty much got the main gist of Strahl. It's FMV at its finest. Strahl was originally released in 1993 for the Laseractive with the help of Sega's Mega LD module under the title Triad Stone. It was also released to Japanese Saturns about a year later, which is where it changed its name to Strahl. The 3DO version didn't come out until about a year after that, which pushed its release to nearly 1996, the final year of the 3DO's life. But the 3DO version was the only one released outside of Japan, and so it is, in essence, a 3DO exclusive. However, the game really requires no text, so you could easily play the Saturn version these days. Anyway, as I said, Strahl is very much a Laserdisc style game. Lots of pretty pictures, but kinda light on gameplay. Generally, I'm not a big fan of these types of games, but Strahl does a few things right for me. First and foremost, I enjoy the aesthetic of the game. Back in the day, I loved old 80s and early 90s anime that had the sword and sorcery sort of vibe, and this game does that to a T. I was surprised that I couldn't find any actual anime that these clips were cut from, because it would have made an excellent one, but it appears that all the scenes are original to this game, which is pretty awesome. Secondly, this game is easy. This is sort of a pro and a con, but for me it struck a good balance where I was able to complete the game before I got tired of it. I had to restart a few times, but in general I was able to get through it pretty well without too much frustration. The downside is that this is the only version that does not have a varying difficulty setting, so there is no going back and challenging yourself once it's over. This makes the game much less replayable, unfortunately, because I'd have loved to have another reason to go through all those scenes. The only other complaint I have is that sometimes the inputs don't feel like they match the action on screen. Most of the time it's really good, but occasionally it'll have you press left, only to have the hero jump off to the right, which makes for a strange, disconnected feeling in a game that already offered very little interaction. It also sometimes takes long breaks where you don't have to press any buttons at all, but I think that's to lull you into watching the scene and then springing something on you. More often than not, this is where I made a mistake, so it's pretty effective, I suppose. The video quality is pretty good for the 3DO's limited video playback capability, however some scenes that are predominantly white seem washed out and suffer a bit. Still, overall it's a nice game to look at, especially by 1994 standards. Okay, so final thoughts. Strahl is a game that surprised me. I didn't think I'd like it, but it turned out to be pretty fun. It doesn't take long to complete, but it's a nice ride while it lasts. I think chances are good that the Laseractive version's video is superior, but with that version being exceedingly rare, as is the system and the module required to play it, I find this to be an excellent substitute. The Saturn version appears to be nearly identical to the 3DO, so either one is likely a good choice. If you're in the mood for something different or just love FMV games, I'd say give Strahl a try. It's easily one of the best FMV games on the 3DO.